the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
28 March 2025, and the Parliament of Ghana, passe Ghana Gold Board Act 2025 Act 1140. Na sa act we Emma Ghana Gold Board to me over Ghana's gold. A kwanya ye faso eton sa gold no. A kwanya ye faso regulate gold no. Assaying and valuation, enforcement powers, export monopoly, and a promotion and support. Inti to me na efa Ghana precious gold. Afedi omodi akwakoshe gold board insa with this particular act 1140. Now the interesting one about that act and say passing in Parliament March 28, 2025. 3 days after, and as nearly 4 days after, April 2nd, 2025, and a President Mahama assented into that in the law. Until from then on, and more appointed the CEO, Sammy Gyamfi, say the Gold Board CEO with a whopping salary estimated around 1.5 million Ghana cedis per year. Into responsibilities we now of gold mining, gold trading, regulation, promotion, export monopoly. Omodi akwakoshe Ghana Gold Board insa. And recently, Catholic Bishops Conference, call President Mahama or any coding komo efa the kwanya se oba abaimu Galamsey Nsem kafa hon afi the agent han afi the more machines any the buying system no say ya omode over 7,000 excavators beko krum say omoyede omodi ademude mining Galamsey site ena osi on to me and pass a state of emergency and a Catholic Bishop Conference for the case. And yes, some commodity now need whilst you are in your position because I idea now we even push it for the time of President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo etiso say omonye day omon push it for state of emergency na Ghana issue essay dani madi enya ade yentimi yebetimi anom Ghana Water Company for crap say almost spend a lot of time and sana ometimi ayeden a refining say issue no amana drinkable water for the persons of Ghana. Even Central Region, Kwamo report say ensure no a through taps 3 times in a week. Inti enya ade ebetimayren atwaso. Recently, CEO Sammy Gyamfi omoni ni di nkomo efa Ghana Gold Board. To me, the ashanensa from April 2020 to April 2nd, 2025 till now to date. I say Ghana for me expect to say a 5 month old. Ebitimi address the problems of Galamsey. Miracles Abuaje at the reply about. Or say President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo or the year in the campaign promise. Say Oba bede Oba kon etia Galamsey or the 3 months pay and a ban, total ban on small scale mining, a ban into the Republic of Ghana, spending over 20 months. Into the main case, idea what can was over the years. Idea what can found over the years in opposition or by into power and a dear because we benefited from it, untimi enkun entia. President Mahama himself cry during the press release say a idea first na nkrofo and the air forces can it is and the sikane eba abain nsem inti sisi they better. The situation is better. And it says, "Ikabeba nsem na Ghana nsuo bese nkwa dia sa na say that is the implication of Nsema Oka." Miracles Abuaje the reply am Sammy Gyamfi. Efa sansem na Okafa on say you don't expect a 5-month-old gold board to fight against the Galamsey. Say one of the laziest and lackadaisical response any government agency edebema yemkutie Miracles Abuaje reply or the man Sammy Gyamfi.
Now, let me also correct this. That impression that 8 months is too short a time for anybody to deal with Galamsey is the lamest, laziest, the most lackadaisical response from any group of persons.
How so?
Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, when he was voted into office in 2017, in April 2017, placed a ban on all forms of mining. That was his first action against the fight Galamsey. For 20 months, close to 2 years, Nana Addo placed a ban on Galamsey and started reorganizing the mining sector. Guess what? By the time we got to 17 December 2018, all CSOs, all media persons led by City at the time said that, Mr. President, where we have reached, we think at this point we can lift the ban. And then based on all the things we have introduced, now have a proper view of the situation and the space and fix it. You, City, have on your portal videos and documentaries of the river bodies having been cleared from this color, improved. No, not cleared from this color to a much more cleaner water as at 2018, as at 2019. You even have a report in 2021 where you were showing how the Ofen River is improving and clearing up.
Yeah.
So Nana Addo Akufo-Addo proved that you can actually take action on Galamsey in 3 months when you come to office. And when you do that, there would actually be results. Let me tell you what happened to Akufo-Addo. No, I'm coming. Let me tell you what happened to Akufo-Addo. When Akufo-Addo inherited the Galamsey menace in 2017, because if the Galamsey menace was not there, there was no way in 3 months he was going to place a ban. You agree with me? So that lie, that falsehood, the president peddled at the media engagement, which they peddled for 8 years whilst we were in office, should be thrown in the bin. Galamsey was actually a creation under the NDC at the time when John Mahama was vice president. It was rather Akufo-Addo who came to inherit this and made attempt to fix it. But when Akufo-Addo came, he was the one who embraced the media and CSOs in the fight against Galamsey. And that was the time when your reporters were with the military men in the helicopter.
Yeah.
And they were holding their cameras covering Galamsey. That was Akufo-Addo's undoing. When he opened up the space and brought everybody's eyes into the fight, then people became more enlightened. And the more people became enlightened, the more people became alarmed. So guess what? When former President Mahama won power in 2013 and became president, Galamsey was already frustrated. So he set up a task force led by Honorable Unisa Fuseni. By 2016, the task force actually announced that they have given up on the fight against Galamsey. It's on record, it's on your portal, it's on MindJoy, it's on every portal. Mahama Yariga said that I called EPA, I called Minerals Commission, I called all these people and told them that, look, it doesn't look like we can win this fight. Yes. It's on record. It's on record. And that is what led to, and this was in September 2016, and that is what led to the conversation about Galamsey coming up again in the last quarter of 2016 towards the elections. Then Akufo-Addo said, this is my solution. When I come, I'm going to introduce alternative ways of doing this thing and some responsible mining. And that is what led to him taking decisive action in his first 3 months. It's not even to determine who did better or who is doing worse, but to get all of us to acknowledge which methods actually may work for us.
Okay.
And to determine which ones we have tried before and which ones we cannot adopt. My view is that the manner in which the conversation is going, if we don't take care, we may end up staying in the Akufo-Addo blame scenario which we suffered for 8 years and really not get any results. I really would not have gone into this conversation, but for the response that His Excellency the President gave at the media engagement. There are cues in there, several cues. Number one, in the President's response, he strategically brought in an 8-year period conversation. What it does is that it's preparing the minds of the citizens.
He said Galamsey has gotten worse in the last 8 years.
He said if you look at the damage that
has been done in the last 8 years. Okay.
What it means is that if you don't take care, President His Excellency is preparing the minds of the citizens to stay in a certain period. So he can be seen as the savior who can do the minimum and still feel good about it. And that for me is where the challenge is. Number two, I have always felt, and I've looked through a lot of reports, and I feel that His Excellency the President's commitment towards the fight of Galamsey is very low. And it didn't really start today. It seems to be a certain tendency of he laying back and doing the barest minimum he could do when it comes to the fight. And that's why I describe him as the biggest enabler of Galamsey in this country. The fact that he believes that it's okay for a country to spend proceeds of crime, illegal money. It doesn't matter where it comes from. So long as the money has come, I think I have a problem with that. I also feel that leadership must be consistent. Leadership must be responsible. Leadership must be accountable to the people. This really has very little to do with NPP and NDC, but more to do with who has a responsibility to deal with the issues. And let's all acknowledge that another Danko Akufo-Addo that you would want to reference, indeed, could not complete the process of the fight against Galamsey. And Galamsey Council is one of the top 5 reasons why Nana Addo and the NPP lost power. Indeed, if you are to list the top 3 reasons why the NPP lost power, Galamsey will be in it. What it means is that it's completely moot. It's a very dormant excuse to try to use Nana Danko Akufo-Addo to make an excuse. That notwithstanding, let's not make the conversation about Akufo-Addo. Let's make the conversation about triggering the president to wake up and do what he needs to do to give us results, especially based on the promises that he himself made. So we look at Galamsey, and if you talk to a 24-year-old in 2024, they are likely to let you understand that Galamsey started in 2017. In fact, in 2024, the 24-year-old was probably 10 years old in 2010. The 18-year-old was probably 4 years old in 2010. And so a lot of the people who went to vote, or about 3 million of the voters who actually took the decision in 2024, lived under the impression that they are voting against a government that is complicit in Galamsey. They are voting against a government that introduced Galamsey. And they were voting for a government that whose presence will simply eliminate Galamsey. And for me, that is one of the biggest lies that was told in the previous elections. And if we don't deal with it now, it would continue to serve as a cover and a shade for the president for him to do little or nothing. Remember, he has been a president before at a time when there was Galamsey and he failed to deal with it. So what are the issues? My view is that mining didn't start today in Ghana. Indeed, if you look at all the records, it predates even colonial era. Even the Galamsey that we refer to predates our age. However, the Galamsey that we see on river bodies and forest areas now is the type of Galamsey that we all acknowledge started between 2010 all the way to we're experiencing now. That is fact. Unfortunately, when we had the cause and the reason to fight Galamsey and fight it head on, the impression was created as if some people were actually the one who came to office, introduced the menace, and for which reason we are all grappling with and we need to get them out. Council, I think that the way the president and the NDC managed to turn the entire country against Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, the way they managed to politicize Galamsey is one of the reasons why Akufo-Addo could not complete the process of the fight against Galamsey. And I'll tell you why. Akufo-Addo remains the only president since the kind of Galamsey we are seeing today popped up, which includes the current president during his time in the first term, that was able to show proof of concept that indeed, if we put certain steps in place, we could clear our water bodies. It's Akufo-Addo. None of them. Mahama couldn't do it, His Excellency. Professor Atanos could not do it. It was Nana Danko Akufo-Addo that showed us our water could clean up. And for me, I feel really sad that we allowed the president and the NDC to mislead the entire country. And then eventually now he has power and he still wants to hide under the same cover and do very little or almost nothing. In the year 2010, 2011, Anas Aremeyaw Anas and the Al Jazeera actually did a documentary. And that documentary vividly described the Galamsey situation and the water bodies. Something, if it was played today and the dates or the years are not mentioned to you, you may think was 2024 or 2022. Let's watch that video and come back quickly.
Galamsey rather seriously. Let's see how we can solve that problem, because this is a clear indication of some of the effects, yes, of Galamsey.
Far from being tackled, Galamsey is now so widespread. Miners are moving onto the river itself. Strange new boats are appearing that can suck up silt from the riverbed, sidestepping the need to dig pits along the river banks. but the constant churning has turned once pristine waters murky brown. The shorelines are scarred, cocoa plantations crushed by the heavy machinery that is dragged across them. This is a kind of distraction that we see in the society.
From Anas Anas, you heard Professor Mills speak. The point I wanted to make here is that let's kill that lie. I mean, they are in government now. Let's not sustain it. Because if you sustain it, what it means is that it doesn't wake the president up to find it urgent, because he could always come and tell us that, listen, I'm the one trying to help. I'm the one trying to solve, so give me time. But he doesn't have time. Because this happened under his tenure. This happened when he was president. And there are several screenshots of stories then. If you can scroll to the stories that we have. Reports of Galamsey, reports of people dying during his tenure, when he was vice president, before eventually he became, president. Please keep scrolling. Scroll for me. There are stories. Go. Just keep going. Keep going. So these headlines, 10 Galamsey operators buried alive. Please move to the next slide. Yes, stop Galamsey now. This is March 2010. Several stories. Please move on. Another Galamsey tragedy, 12 trapped to death. Please move on. Flood. Males angered by harmful effects of Galamsey. 2011. 300 people died of Galamsey in 2011. Move on. So the point we are making here, court not helping fight against Galamsey. This is Honorable Fusam. Let's stay on this. Now, this is a report that was made on Galamsey's situation between 2011 and 2015. A period where the president now was vice president and president. Now, he says area of Galamsey has more than tripled from 2011 to 2015, from 10,907 to 36,000 hectares. Galamsey is affecting major rivers of Fin and Cobra, Brim, and Numtano. In 2013, an estimated area of 551,000 was affected by Galamsey pollution. This is a period between 2011 and 2015. This was at a time when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was in opposition. It was a major issue. Please move to the next slide. Major matter within the period. And you can see the level of devastation. Galamsey worsened in 2010 and water pollution increased. Please move on. So these stories that I have basically run us through, sometimes you realize that if I covered the dates and I read these headlines to you, the likelihood you may think they are between 2017 and 2025 is high.
That's true.
These headlines, these are almost the same headlines we are running today. And so it is completely wrong for the government of the day, in an attempt to find a solution to Galamsey, to continuously create an impression as if they are saviors. No, they introduced it. And when I say they introduced it, I'm not saying they are mining. They were the ones mining. Indeed, let me tell you something. In the year 2016, in the year 2013, please go back a bit. In 2013, John Dramani Mahama, the president, had a course to set up an interministerial task force to fight Galamsey. Now, guess what? The interministerial task force had the responsibility to go to the mining area, arrest Galamseyers, burn excavators, burn chamfans, arrest the foreigners, and deport them to their country. It was their mandate.
Right.
Honorable Anatete was there. Inusa Fuseni Honorable was the chairman. Mahama Yariga, now majority leader Honorable, was a member. He was the environment minister. Mahama Yariga, at a point, September 2016, this was like 3 months to elections, said that he has given up on the fight against Galamsey. Indeed, he said, I called the EPA boss, I called the Minerals Commission boss, and I told all of them, look, we cannot win this fight. And that we need to look at an approach. At some point, Mahama Yariga was advocating for regularizing the illegal mining, making the point that once they mine and it can be covered, we are fine. Never within this period did you ever hear Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo or anybody from the NPP period between 2010 and 2016 actually attacking President Mahama and accusing him of doing Galamsey at that time. Nobody ever did that. We should put that on record. What Nana Addo did was that when 2016 September, the issue became a burning matter, 3 months to election, he said, I am proposing an alternate way of dealing with this. And I think that if we're able to put that in place, it would work. Vote for me, and let's see how we can deal with it. Nana Akufo-Addo won the elections. Fast forward, council. In the first 3 months of Akufo-Addo being sworn in, April, it was 3 months. And I hear the president says, it's just 8 months. Let it be put on record. When Nana Addo was sworn in January 7, 2017, Galamsey had been running since at least in a major way like this from 2010. Akufo-Addo never told the country that I have just come. Please give me time because you know that this problem has been created during the Mahama era, and so give me time, let me work on it. No, he swung straight into action. He called the media, he called civil society organizations, they sat down, they realized that the place was too chaotic, and the best approach to deal with it was to place a pause on it so they can look at how to deal with it. So, in April 2017, Nana Addo placed a ban on all forms of small-scale mining in this country. It was the first 6-month ban, but eventually it ran for 20 months. Council, 20 months of a period in this country. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo placed a ban on mining. That was the time Nana Addo now embedded media houses and CSOs with the military and the police in the fight against Galamsey. Multimedia, fully embedded. When the military and helicopters, the media people are with them, taking drone shots, taking area shots and all of that. I dare say that it was Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's strategy of bringing the media into this fight that actually brought real-time update to the Ghanaian people, and I think it was one of his unmaking and undoing. Because within that period, now Ghanaians began to follow in real time the issues of Galamsey. And think about it. These 16, 17 years, 11 years, 18 years old at the time were not, they were like 6, 5, 4 years in 2010. So their eyes opened in the Nana Addo era at a time when you could see Galamsey fight everywhere. Then the NDC said, oh, we'll help you, let's do it, all manner of things, because they realized that people were interested. By December 17, 2018, our water bodies had started clearing up. Council, the water bodies that were brownish, Milo color, had started clearing up. And we should watch this video. Yeah, media houses reported, please, if you have the video of our water bodies clearing up, please, let's play that. I think it was a city report video that I have, to be played.
This is the first water body that we are visiting in the Chebi area. You were here some 3 months ago before the fight against illegal mining. Give me a picture of what the river was and now.
Yeah, because when I visited this particular place in February, it was muddy. The water was muddy. Galamsey operators were busy on site working. They had diverted its course. Indeed, they had blocked it, and then they were using the water for mining purposes. But as we can see here today, when we look at the speed at which...
So, it's a long video. We don't have enough time. So the evidence is that Nana Addo actually showed proof of concept. That indeed, if we stop the kind of mining we were doing, our water bodies could clean up. You remember at some point, people were only saying that, it is when the rainy seasons come and it rains, it washes the mud into our waters. And so this was proof that Galamsey is actually the reason why our water bodies were the way they are. So he introduced reforms within the period of the ban, together with CSOs, several of them. Several strategies were put in place. And some of the things that we see today, and there's also one of the points I made, that's something. We cannot have run a strategy for 8 years, which we all admit did not give us the desired results as at the time Nana Addo was living. And then you promise us heaven and earth. Then when you come to office and you are doing nothing and we ask you to show us what you have done so far, you are showing us the same things you came to meet ongoing when you were in opposition and you were criticizing. So look at the, let's go back to a few of the slides. Nana Addo was doing arrest, ban, and prosecute. Nana Addo introduced easy way and convenient way of making sure that the locals will have some safer way of doing mining. So these are mercury machines that were introduced to some of the community people so that instead of they going into the water, they stay onshore and use the machine to safely mine. Nana Addo